Pass the salt.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
The honor is yours. Your call.
Is it because I lost?
I wasn't going to say it that way. Drum roll. Oh my God, you did it.
I did it. Yeah.
You have 4 out of 5.
I remember the first time I saw
Are we tied now?
Avenged Sevenfold play and indirectly met you.
Yeah.
God, I want to say it was like 2003 Warped Tour. Waking the Fallen was like exploding. And I remember, like most people's introduction to your band was hearing the riff in Unholy Confessions.
Yeah.
I just remember this like element of danger around your band. It like felt like that. And you could tell there was like a movement that was being created.
I feel like we really stuck out. Even though we were a smaller band, it was very cool. Because of that culture, there's no divas, there's a bunch of crazy people. They're fucking gypsies, they're nuts, but there's no fucking egos, and so it was chaotic. I mean, we still did whatever the fuck we wanted to do while we maintained some semblance of professionalism, you know? Like hanging by a thread at all times, but we always made sure that we could play the shows and play them to the best of our ability and do whatever we needed to do. Go pass out flyers, go sell merch, go, hawk gear across the entire grounds and stuff, just carrying your fucking half stacks, like fucking hungover, 8 o'clock in the morning or whenever you wake up and you go set up all your gear, and it's just friends. There was such camaraderie, there was confidence in that camaraderie. But yeah, it was incredible. It was just like cutting your teeth on being responsible, but being able to just reaffirm the punk rock values that we appreciated just growing up outside of music and outside of anything but our friendship.
So the new record in the making for 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
It's incredibly ambitious. It's different than anything you guys have ever done. And I just would love it if you could talk us through the process of it.
Years ahead from this, I'll probably look back and think, oh, it doesn't sound as unique as I thought, just like I do with certain records. But a lot of our older records are literally guitar, traditional guitar tones and things of that nature. And I mean, to me, this is the first album that does not sound like anything I've ever heard before in my life. And I think it's because our sources of inspiration and the time that we had to dial those in and not just jam pack and force those things into what needs to be eventually at the end of the finish line needs to be you listening to your music and loving it, loving the fuck out of it. Having all this time to experiment with, really, really big sound library and getting on maybe the keyboards first or the little rolly keyboard that make all the crazy different sounds and playing through a myriad of effects. The Axe Effects by Fractal is an amazing tool. It was endless sources of inspiration in the last 5 years, and that was kind of by design and because of the time that we had to set up all these different playgrounds, these sonic playgrounds to really experience and build new scenes that we hadn't heard before. It's by far the most guitar-centric record that we've ever done, by far, leaps and bounds. But ostensibly, it's not just coming at you with loads of guitar. It doesn't, to me at least, doesn't have that aesthetic. To me, it's deeper, but we were able to get that depth with a lot of fucking guitar, and I'm super proud of that. At this point, I have no interest in picking up a guitar just for the sake of writing a record. It has to be like, I don't know why I walked into my fucking creative room. I don't know why I'm in my studio right now. I'm just moving and shit's coming out and I'm pleased. That's it. So we were speaking earlier about how lucky we are to have such a, I don't even know, yeah, for you it's technically family. For me, I consider it family. But just generations of support, of like culture, and then how in the fuck do you just like take what everybody's built and not just sustain it, but like move it into the future with just laser focus on integrity, your relationships with your artists, and preserving the legacy and maybe even the intent of your grandfather.
I saw this fire and passion from my dad. You know, he was fearless in how he ran the business, and he attacked doing things unconventionally. It was just authentically what he felt represented the Ernie Ball spirit and our brand and our family. You know, it was pretty easy to have a lot of pride in that. And I knew from a really young age that if I was going to be involved in the business in any way, my nature isn't to be like just okay with the status quo.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, the idea of not attacking it the way my dad and my grandpa did, that was not an option for me. And I mean, the foundation that my grandpa created, my dad helped build, was like something that, you know, I knew I always wanted to do.
Innovate, you move forward, you're a futurist, while really appreciating the traditionalist nature of your family's heritage. With my group of friends, I was very fortunate to always have boundaries put up by different sources of energy in front of us, and just have that punk rock Warped Tour attitude of just highly allergic to parameters and boundaries. And then you just fight to figure out new and improved and innovative ways to kick those fucking walls down. And we felt like we were breaking rules then. And the coolest thing is, you know, with technology advancing and stuff and being a futurist myself, being able to implement that with the punk rock mentality, the things you can do with music, you know, today is fucking crazy. The things that you can do with your record to translate it to a live show is fucking incredible. And to have a band of miscreants, you know, ostensibly kind of hanging by a thread, but just with blinders on and laser focus on the mission at hand, I feel very fortunate, you know, at 40 years old, to just have the confidence to be able to do anything now. 25 years old, I didn't have that. In fact, I didn't really think about it. It was just doing, it was just going. And now it's like, oh, I have some tools that will get me to point A and to C with skipping B, you know? It's like these little wormholes that you learn kind of growing up.
Getting to create a string with you, what's really interesting about what you wanted to do, which isn't surprising, is create something that's really unique and different, and you wanted to innovate with something that's uniquely yours. And that's when I get excited.
What I think I keep coming back to is learning about the importance of strings. You don't take it for granted as a guitar player that that's the first thing you fucking touch. You know, both hands, and that's how you're manipulating the instrument primarily. But I never knew how important tone and strength were, and how they could work and interact together. I kind of thought you had to have one or the other.
You start to really learn like what does create the nuances of specific frequencies, and how do you get more low end if that's what you want? If you want a mid scoop, how do you get that? If you want more output, if you want more sustain, there's a lot of things you can do that's different from just a string being a commoditized product where the perception might be that everyone's the same. Well, there's a lot of things you can do, especially with the vision of an artist like you. Like, hey, Brian, I want this to sound in this way, and I want it to be reliable on stage. I want it to really fit every aspect of what I need for my sound.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the funnest part of our job. It's like, okay, we get to create some cool shit now.
There's so many things that we have in common. We have so many similar interests. We don't take no for an answer. We definitely live ourselves some life. It's pretty cool to be able to hang and chat and build with you.